Poor girl reveals incredible truth about billionaire's deaf son. A heartwarming, life-changing encounter. Lily was accustomed to struggle, her life woven with threads of adversity. Each morning, she'd rise before dawn, the sun barely a blush on the horizon. She'd slip quietly into the kitchen, careful not to wake her single mother, who had worked herself ragged at the factory. Even in her fatigue, her mom radiated strength, a beacon of resilience that Lily clung to. Today, however, was different. Today, the community center shimmered in the morning light, a realm where Lily could escape into dreams of a better life and help others find joy. Amidst the laughter of children playing, a quiet boy caught her eye. Miles stood on the fringes, a shadow in a vibrant scene. He was a mystery, belonging to the affluent neighborhood at the town's edge, where the sounds of laughter were muffled by the walls of privilege. As Lily approached, an invisible barrier pressed down on her chest. He was deaf, and she felt the weight of misunderstanding that surrounded him. Her heart raced as she signed, "Hi, I'm Lily." His face broke into a radiant smile, the kind that could chase away clouds. They began to converse, forging a connection built on dreams, fears, and shared laughter. Miles shared his ambitions of becoming an artist, creating murals that spoke of the world in colors and textures, while Lily expressed her desires for a scholarship, to break the chains of poverty constraining her family. They had so much to learn from each other. Each meeting became a wellspring of hope, flowing through their hardships, illuminating the dark corners of their realities. Lily marveled at how the richness of Miles's imagination permeated despite the silence he lived in, while Miles admired Lily's unwavering determination to uplift her community. However, when whispers of a charity gala began to circulate, a chill swept through her heart. The gala was meant to raise awareness for disabilities, a chance for Miles to shine, but news of his father's plan to keep him hidden stirred a fire in Lily's gut. He deserves to be seen, she thought, echoes of her own life ringing in her ears. She couldn't bear the thought of anyone being overlooked, especially someone as special as Miles. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Lily's plan began to form, a daring idea that ignited the cold shadows of doubt within her. Could she unveil the truth, showcasing Miles's artistic prowess to the community? She knew it was a risk, one that could obliterate the fragile worlds they both inhabited. Yet, her heart choked on the thought of silent giants overshadowing brilliance. As the days ticked away, anticipation quaked in her bones. What would happen at the gala? Would they embrace the beautiful tapestry of friendship they had woven, or would ghosts of judgment pull them apart? Just as she gathered her courage to confront the status quo, Miles revealed something extraordinary about himself, an ability that flipped her world upside down. Now, her heart raced for entirely different reasons, leaving her standing on the precipice of change, ready to leap into the unknown. How far would she go to ensure a bright future for herself and the boy who believed in her dreams? Lily could feel her heart pounding harder than ever as Miles shared his secret. "I can hear music in my head," he signed, his fingers moving gracefully as if conducting an invisible orchestra. The revelation made her pause, her breath catching. Despite his silence in the physical world, inside, he created symphonies that danced in colors and emotions. This was no ordinary talent, it was profound and beautiful. Stunned, she watched him beam, and with that smile, she felt a rush of determination surge through her. He was more than just a boy without sound, he was an artist painting the world inside his mind. What if we could share that with everyone? She thought. The idea rooted itself deep in her heart, the spark igniting a fire. Planning for the gala became their shared mission. Lily started gathering supplies, making lists of what they would need. Together, they crafted a vision that merged art and experience, where Miles's music could be heard through his brushstrokes. Every afternoon after school, they met at the community center, transforming a lonely corner into a vibrant studio. The walls would soon breathe life as Miles swirled colors, while Lily helped mold the concept of the exhibition. "There's something magical about being able to express who you are without needing words," she said one day, watching him lost in a swirl of paints. His expressive strokes spoke louder than any spoken sentence could. He nodded, eyes twinkling with dreams large enough to fill the sky. But whispers and warnings loomed in the background like storm clouds. The closer they got to the event, the more fear wrapped itself around Lily. What if Miles's father found out? What if he put a stop to it all before they had the chance to shine? The very thought nearly paralyzed her. The shadows of self-doubt began to creep in, but she shook them off. This was their chance, a moment they had to seize. The day of the gala arrived with a flurry of excitement and nerves. Vast banners adorned the entryway, showcasing artworks that celebrated diversity and inclusion. Lily stood at the doorway with Miles, their hearts drifting between hope and anxiety. A crowd began to gather, whispers of curiosity and admiration circling the air. This was it, their moment to step into the light. As they prepared for the unveiling, Lily noticed Miles's hands trembling slightly. "Are you okay?" she signed, concern etched on her face. He nodded, flashing a reassuring smile, but she could see there was fear lurking behind his expression. Pausing for a heartbeat, she took his hand. "We can do this together." With their hearts kicking in sync, they stepped onto the stage. As Lily introduced Miles to the audience, she felt the heat of judgment in the air. The room quieted, eyes focusing on the boy who had been hidden away for too long. When Miles began revealing his paintings, Lily held her breath. Each stroke radiated emotions, and with every display, she saw awareness blossom in the audience. It felt electric, a pulse of connection that surrounded them. And then, in a moment of bravery, Miles reached out, offering the audience a glimpse into his world. As he shared his story through his art, a profound silence enveloped them, only to be broken by gasps of revelation. People were connecting with every color, every brushstroke, embracing the sound of his emotions. Just then, through the crowd, she spotted a familiar figure, the silhouette of Miles's father watching from the back, arms crossed, gaze fixed. The atmosphere shifted, tension rising as Lily's heart sank. Would he step forward to stop this momentous occasion? Or would he see his son for the artist he truly was? The answer could change everything. Lily felt the weight of the moment, and the silence thickened around them. Would this be their breakthrough, or would they be thrust back into darkness? She tightened her grip on Miles's hand, ready to face whatever came next, knowing they had already changed something deep within themselves, but now, the real test was just beginning. The air crackled with anticipation as Miles showcased his paintings. Each brushstroke, an audible heartbeat, and yet the whispers of the audience felt like icy winds against Lily's skin. She looked at Miles, whose expressive eyes held a mixture of hope and uncertainty. It was a silent plea for acceptance, a desire to be seen, truly seen, for who he was. The silence was stretched tight, every heartbeat felt, every breath held. Lily could feel the tension radiating off the crowd. Then, a shift happened. From the back of the room, a low murmur rose, followed by a ripple of whispers. That familiar silhouette hadn't moved, it was like a shadow cast over this moment of light. Miles's father stood there, still and unyielding, while the warmth of creativity flowed from Miles like an unstoppable river. "Please," Lily thought desperately, turning her gaze back to Miles. It was as if time slowed. She watched his hands, graceful even amid the anxiety, as he painted his truth to life, colors blending in unpredictable ways just like life itself. "Miles, show them your music," she signed, her eyes locking onto his. In that instant, everything inside her surged with a fierce belief. This was not just about art, it was about a voice that deserved to be heard, even if it was without words. With a deep breath, Miles turned back to his canvas, the world around him dissolving. He closed his eyes momentarily, letting the rhythm of his thoughts flow through the tips of his fingers. Each color erupted with a story, imagery dancing like melodies crashing against waves, a symphony of silence. Lily felt the audience begin to lean in, drawn closer by an invisible string binding them to this extraordinary young man. They were captivated, realizing this was no simple exhibition. This was a window into a soul that had weaved both vibrant colors and profound stories. But just as Lily felt the wall of tension begin to break, she glanced back at the figure of Miles' father. The arms that were once crossed began to shift, fingers twitching in agitation. Her heart sank as the wind of uncertainty rushed in. Would he disrupt this moment? Would he erupt from the back, tearing down the fragile bridge that had been built between them and this audience? Then, almost as if the universe heard her thoughts, Miles' father took a tentative step forward. Gasps spread like wildfire through the crowd. It was as if everyone held their breath, wondering what would happen next. Lily squeezed Miles's hand tighter, drawing strength from him, ready to face whatever fallout lay ahead. Tension filled the room like a thick fog, heavy, tangible. As the eyes of the crowd shifted between Miles and his father, it was clear that this moment had the power to redefine everything. "Miles," she whispered, pouring every ounce of encouragement into her gaze, "this is it. Whatever happens, remember you are amazing. Your music matters." Facing the crowd and pouring his soul into the canvas before him, every stroke painted louder than any voice could until, finally, he looked toward his father. Would this be the moment that changed everything for them? Or was it merely a chance to glimpse happiness before plunging back into doubt? The tension balanced on a razor's edge, the outcome uncertain. As the room pulsated with silence, Lily felt hope flutter within her chest. What could unfold if love prevailed? Would it shatter the barriers of fear, or would they remain forever locked in their own silence? Just then, the moment arrived, and the power of their shared journey hung in the balance. Would this just be the beginning of their revelations or an end they had dreaded? As Miles' gaze met his father's, the world around them faded into a blur. Silence wrapped itself around them, each breath heavy with unspoken words. The colors on the canvas seemed to bloom with urgency, each stroke a whisper that carried the weight of years of longing and fear. Lily held her breath, fixated on the scene unfolding. Would his father's face betray the truth? Or would it mirror the distance that had defined their relationship? The crowd was a mere shadow, their laughter, their gasps, faded into the distance. This was a moment meant for the two of them. Miles' father stepped forward, uncertainty gleaming in his eyes, an image of the man he had always been, but also a hint of something more. There was a slight tremor in his hands, as if fear was battling against a burgeoning urge to connect. The crowd watched, transfixed by the two figures anchoring the moment. "Miles," his father began, his voice caught somewhere between surprise and a plea for understanding. "What have you done? This is incredible." The words hung heavy with disbelief, like a tether snapping after too much tension. Those 4 words were like shattered glass in Lily's heart. The walls that had built over years of disappointment were starting to crack. She could see Miles' shoulders relax, the tension dissolving into cautious hope. I made it for you," Miles replied, his voice steady yet soft, echoing through the silence. "This is my voice. I wanted to show you what I could do." As he spoke, Lily felt a swell of pride rising within her. Miles was no longer just a boy standing before a canvas, he was a young man claiming his identity. The crowd felt it, too, leaning in closer, each person sharing in Miles' emotional journey, their breaths synchronized in anticipation. His father blinked, as if realizing for the first time the depth of his son's passion. "I've never acknowledged your art like this," he said, and the sincerity in his tone made Lily's chest tighten with emotion. "I haven't been present." The acknowledgement hung in the air, fragile like the first light of dawn breaking through a long night. Miles' eyes widened, hope dancing just beyond the veil of vulnerability. "You can be now," he whispered, almost pleading for connection. Lily squeezed his hand tighter, feeling the energy shift in the room. Around them, she noticed nodding heads and glistening eyes in the audience, as if they were witnessing not just a father-son reunion but a saga of love and redemption playing out before them. With a deeper breath, Miles turned to face the canvas again. "This is my heart," he said, gesturing toward his piece with a mix of pride and fear. "I want you to understand who I am." Each stroke had woven together a narrative filled with longing and belief. Lily could barely contain her tears. Finally, it seemed, the moment was its own entity, alive and throbbing with possibility. Miles's father took another step forward, the walls around him trembling. "Can you show me?" In that instant, words fell away, replaced by the intense connection that blossomed between them. Miles nodded, and the two began moving beyond their past, taking tentative steps toward understanding. As that father and son began to explore the vibrant stories painted before them, hope lingered in the air. Could this moment really rewrite their history? While the crowd watched in awe, Lily caught a glimpse of a new beginning. She could feel her heart racing, the joy of possibility blooming. This was not just an art show any longer, it was a revival, a chance to seize the future. And just as the moment began unfurling new chapters, a sudden shout from the back of the room pierced the atmosphere. Lily's heart plummeted. Was this the disruption they all feared? What could possibly unfold next in this fragile tapestry of hope woven with love? The shout echoed through the space, cutting the tense air with sharpness. Lily's pulse quickened as she turned, eyes flicking toward the back of the gallery. It was a man, waving his arms frantically, his face a mask of desperation. The noise jolted the crowd, and conversation simmered to a halt. What now? She thought, dread pooling in her stomach. The beautiful moment seemed fragile, teetering on the brink of chaos. Miles and his father both froze, expressions shifting from hope to confusion. "Get off the stage!" the man shouted, pointing directly at Miles. "This isn't what you think it is." The crowd gasped collectively. Whispers surged through the audience like unwanted waves crashing against a serene shore. Miles's face turned pale, his hope crumbling under the weight of the unexpected interruption. "Who the hell is this guy?" Lily muttered under her breath. The man's voice was a discordant note in the symphony they had just begun to play. "Miles, is he telling the truth?" Miles's father asked, his expression hardening, concern flickering in his eyes. "No. No, he is not." Miles vehemently shook his head, stepping closer to the edge of the canvas. "This is mine. My work, my story." But the shout hung heavy, suspense crystallizing between them. The man took a step forward, his face flushed. "You don't understand. I'm here to warn you. There are things in your past you keep your mouth shut." A woman abruptly interjected, stepping forward, clearly protective of Miles. Her eyes lanced through the crowd, daring anyone to challenge her. "Let him speak. We deserve to know the truth." Lily's heart raced as she came to grips with the tension. This spectacle was not unfolding like a peaceful reunion, it was an eruption. Yet amidst the chaos, she could sense the resolve building inside Miles, a flickering flame of determination that refused to be extinguished. "Let him talk," Miles said, his voice barely above a whisper but filled with a fierce conviction. "If I can't face the truth, what's the point of this?" The gallery quieted again, every set of eyes glued to the unfolding drama. Lily's own heartbeat synchronized with the rising tide of emotions. This was not just about art anymore, it was becoming something far larger, a confrontation with the past, a reckoning. The man approached cautiously, lowering his voice but stealing glances at the edges of the crowd. "Miles, you need to know there's more to your father's story than you've been told. The truth is complicated." With every word, the ripples of tension spread through the room like shockwaves. Lily clutched her chest, a sensation of dread pooling inside her. What could possibly come next? Would this spell the end of the delicate bond Miles was trying to form with his father, or mark the beginning of a painful unearthing? As the atmosphere intensified, Lily felt the weight of unsaid words filling the space, a mixture of fear, anticipation, and a flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe, laying bare the truth could lead to something beautiful. "Don't let them break you," she urged silently as she locked eyes with Miles, who stood defiant, ready to face whatever storm was coming. Yet the question hung tantalizingly in the air: was it courage or peril that lay ahead? As the tension built into a crescendo, everything seemed to hang in the balance. The moment was poised to spill over, and where that led could change everything. Would the truth bring them together, or face them with cracks too deep to mend? The moment stretched out as though time itself had stilled. The gallery felt like a living entity, every breath, every whispered remark adding to the tension that enveloped them like a thick fog. Miles, the man's voice was quieter now, almost pleading. "You need to listen. Your father isn't who you think he is." He glanced nervously at the crowd, as if sensing their judgment. "He's been hiding things for years, things that could change everything you know about your past." Miles's face twisted with confusion and anger. "What do you mean?" He stepped closer, his fists clenched, demanding answers. "If you have something to say, say it." The woman who had defended him earlier stepped forward again, her expression a mixture of support and skepticism. "You think you can just walk in here and ruin everything? Who do you think you are?" "I'm here to protect him," the man shot back, then turned his eyes solely to Miles. "I'm telling you, your mother was part of it too. She was desperate to keep you safe." Stop. Miles interrupted, his voice trembling with an intensity that caught the crowd off guard. "I don't want to hear any more lies." Lily felt a rush of empathy flood through her. She stepped closer to Miles, reaching out to grasp his arm, trying to ground him. His skin was warm, tight with tension, and the air crackled between them. "Miles, just breathe," she whispered, anxiously scanning the crowd that neither moved nor spoke. The man took a breath, visibly shaken but undeterred. "I'm not lying, Miles. Your father's past includes actions hidden from you. Dangerous choices that have repercussions on your future. You need to know." He paused, locking eyes with Miles. "You deserve to know your true story." The silence that enveloped the gallery was palpable, the air thick with disbelief. It was as if they were all holding their collective breath, waiting for Miles to decide what to do next. His father's expression was a mix of stoicism and fear, both guarding secrets and watching the potential cracks expand and deepen in his relationship with his son. "What's your name?" Miles demanded, narrowing his eyes at the man. "Julian," he replied, holding up his hands in a gesture of peace. "My parents were friends with your mother. They knew what was happening, and they knew that once you found out, it would change everything." A shiver ran down Lily's spine. The weight of the unspoken truth pressed down on them all, heavy with implications. If Miles learned the truth, what would happen to the fragile bond he had just begun to build with his father? Would it rip apart everything they had fought for tonight? "Miles," she said softly, her gaze steady on him, trying to inject clarity into the maelstrom. "Whatever this is, you're not alone. I'm here." His eyes softened for a brief moment, a flicker of gratitude, but the storm within him was undeniable. He was on the verge of breaking apart or shattering the illusion he had lived under for too long. "Julian," he said, tone sharper now. "If you know the truth, then tell me. What is so terrible that my life has been built on lies?" The gallery held its breath for what seemed like eternity. This was the moment, the point of no return. Miles stood at the precipice, teetering between the comfort of the known and the jagged edges of the unknown. Then, Julian took a step forward, a glimmer of urgency in his eyes. "Because your father isn't just a successful artist, Miles. He's tangled up in a world that threatens more than just his past. It threatens you." Gasps erupted. Shock turned to whispers, and Lily's heart raced. What kind of past could be so dark? Would it shield Miles or plunge him further into chaos? As the air buzzed with anticipation, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that whatever was about to be revealed, it had the power to reshape their lives forever. Would Miles rise from the truth or crumble beneath it? All she knew was that one truth could lead to another. Could this be the catalyst for a brighter future, or was it the storm brewing on the horizon? Lily squeezed Miles's arm tighter, knowing they were in for a wild ride. What truths lay beneath the surface waiting to be unearthed? Just how intertwined were their lives, and was there a way to emerge whole from the chaos to come? The tension in the gallery thickened, drawing everyone a fraction closer. Miles stood there, his heart hammering against his chest, the emotions swirling through him like a tempest. He felt the weight of every expectant stare bore down on him, a spotlight that left no shadow to hide in. "Threatening me?" he echoed, his voice barely a whisper, but the gravity of the words seemed to echo around the room. His mind raced, grasping at fragments of his childhood. The quiet moments with his father, their shared laughter, the late-night painting discussions. Were they all a facade? "Julian, what do you know?" Miles demanded, trying to find a steady ground beneath his shaky feet. With a deep, steadying breath, Julian began to speak. "Your father had dealings, Miles. Things that put him and you in danger. You were kept safe from it all, hidden from the world he was part of. But now, the past is haunting him. It's coming back." A wave of gasps shuffled through the crowd, their horror mingling with curiosity. Miles clenched his jaw, instinctively pulling away from Lily's comforting grip. He didn't want her to see the cracks forming all over his serene facade. "I don't understand," he said, utterly bewildered. "Why would my father? He loves me." "Love doesn't erase choices, or the shadows they cast," Julian countered, his voice tinged with compassion. "Your father's past is dangerous, and he chose to shield you from it. But now, it's tearing at the seams. You need to know before it's too late." Miles turned to his father, searching his face for an answer. The older man's expression was a tumult of guilt and sorrow. "I did it to protect you, Miles," he said finally, his voice strained. "It was never about lies, it was about keeping you safe." "Safe from what?" Miles's voice cracked, a mix of fury and fear coursing through him. What could possibly be so awful? Julian took a step closer, his eyes fierce with urgency. "Look into his eyes, Miles. You'll see it. There are things your father has done to survive, decisions made in a world you can't imagine." Somewhere among the whispers, Lily took a small step forward, desperation filling her gaze. She had watched Miles wrestle with pain and confusion for so long. Now, as he stood on the precipice of his past, the uncertainty hung in the air like smoke, suffocating. "Miles, whatever it is, you're stronger than this," she encouraged gently. "You can handle the truth." But could he? The thought settled deep inside him, a flicker of terror shadowing his bravado. Miles felt as if the ground beneath him shifted, revealing a chasm of uncertainty. "Miles, you deserve to know who you are," Julian pressed, pushing against the silence that had swallowed the room. "It's time." The tension snapped, and all eyes turned to Miles, the moment stretching infinitely, expanding with the weight of countless decisions. Should he confront the reality before him? Should he dig into the past that seemed to claw at him from the shadows? "What if I can't handle it?" he muttered, regret curling around his heart. "Then let us face it together," Lily interjected, squeezing his hand once more, her voice steady. "You don't have to do this alone." Resolute, Miles inhaled sharply. "I need to know the truth." Julian nodded, satisfaction glinting in his eyes. He opened his mouth, ready to unleash the secrets that had been buried under layers of deceit. Just as he started, a sudden commotion erupted at the gallery entrance. A figure burst through the doors, silhouetted against the dim light, someone from his father's past. Miles's heart sank. Who were they? What more was he about to uncover? Time hung heavy, suspended in uncertainty, as the truth loomed threateningly close, promising to shatter what little certainty he had left. The murmurs in the gallery rose to a crescendo, drowning out the thump of Miles's pounding heart. He squinted at the figure now stepping into the light. There stood a woman, her hair wild, face flushed, as though she'd sprinted through the chaos of a storm to reach him. It was the resemblance that struck him first, her hazel eyes glinting with recognition, hauntingly familiar. Leonora, his father whispered, the name broken, heavy with implications. The crowd whispered her name, a wave of curiosity washing over them. Miles shifted his gaze, flicking between Leonora and his father, who stood frozen, a statue of remorse. You shouldn't be here. His father called out, a frantic edge to his voice, cracking under the pressure of years of cover-ups and forgotten debts. I had to come, Robert. He deserves to know. Leonora shouted back, her voice strong, slicing through the tension like a knife. Each word laced with urgency and unspoken pain. Miles felt every gaze on him, as if they were peeling back his layers, exposing the most fragile corners of his soul. Why? He breathed, the word barely escaping his lips. What does he deserve to know? Miles, stop, his father implored, stepping toward him as if trying to shield him from the truth. Leonora, please, this is not the time. But Leonora's determination only grew fiercer. It's exactly the time, Robert. He is not a child anymore. He has the right to know about the choices that were made for him. Choices? What choices? Miles pressed, desperation creeping into his voice. You all keep talking in riddles. I'm standing here, surrounded by whispers and shadows, while my life feels like it's turning upside down. Just tell me. The weight of her gaze bore into him, revealing vulnerabilities he didn't want to face. Slowly, she took a step closer, her voice softer, yet still powerful. Your father had enemies. Business partners he betrayed. People who didn't care if you were pulled into the mess. He had to leave it all behind for your safety. Shut up. Robert snapped, anger flickered through his eyes, but the tension in his shoulders sagged beneath the truth. You can't shut the past away, Robert. You tried to shield him, but those shadows never really left. You thought keeping him ignorant would keep him safe, but the darkness still lurks. It will always lurk. Miles took a breath, a surge of emotions flooding over him. What does this mean for me? For my future? All the pieces began to tumbling together, each revelation striking harder than the last. He felt like a puzzle coming apart at the seams. Each fragment pulling him further into a reality he hadn't asked for, a maze of decisions made without his consent. Lily leaned closer, her voice steady and resolute. You can choose how to move forward, Miles. No one can decide that for you. Miles nodded, swallowing hard. The fight in him ignited. Then tell me everything, Leonora. Don't hold back anymore. As if reading his determination, Leonora straightened, her eyes glimmering with the flame of fight. All right. But you need to be ready for the truth, because it's going to change everything. The moment hung thick in the air, anticipation crackling. He was on the edge, standing between what he thought to be true and the reality that slipped through the cracks. What was revelation going to unfold from her lips? Miles felt fear settle in his stomach, but there was also a glimmer of hope. This was the moment to confront it all. And outside the gallery, the sounds of distant sirens wailed, creating an ominous backdrop to the secrets that were about to surface. Would he have the strength to face them? As Leonora opened her mouth, the tension in the room snapped like a taut string. Your father didn't just leave the past behind, Miles, he left someone behind. What truth awaited him? The room held its breath, every eye locked onto Leonora. She stood tall, the tremor in her voice betraying the fierce resolve in her gaze. Miles, the person your father left behind, is your sister. A gasp echoed through the gallery, a mixture of shock and disbelief rippling among the crowd. Miles could feel the ground shifting beneath him, his mind racing to process the words. A sister. All his life, he had believed he was alone, the sole child in a world where secrets thrived. What do you mean? He managed to choke out, his voice shaking. How is that even possible? Why didn't I know? Leonora took a deep breath. Your father had to protect her after everything went down. The betrayal, the threats, it all put her in danger. He thought that hiding the truth would keep you both safe. Miles's heart pounded like a drum, each beat echoing the urgency of the moment. Memories surged back, a childhood spent in silence, his mother whispering soothing words, his father's shadow looming large, always distant, always guarded. Was there really someone else out there in the world who shared his blood? What's her name? He asked, desperate for the smallest connection. Her name is Isla, Leonora replied softly. And she's in a foster home now, not far from here. I came to find you because she needs your help. She's been searching for you. The words washed over Miles like cold water. He felt both elation and dread. A sister, a living reminder of a life he hadn't experienced, a piece of himself pieced together from shards of forgotten memories. His heart thudded with questions. Who was she? What had she faced alone? His father stood rigid, his hands trembling at his sides. Leonora, you shouldn't have come here. This should have remained buried. But Leonora wasn't backing down. No, Robert. This isn't just about you anymore. Miles deserves to know who he is. The tension swirled like a storm, the gallery around him fading into silence. This was beyond family disputes or old secrets. This was about truth. Miles turned to his father, searching for answers in those fragile eyes that had once felt like home. You didn't just lie to me, you took away my chance to know my sister. I thought I was protecting you. Robert's voice cracked, resignation etched on his face. There were threats, Miles. People who wouldn't think twice about using you or Isla to get to me. But I could have protected her. Miles shot back, anger bubbling up. All this time, I thought I was the one who needed saving. As emotions collided, the murmurs from the gallery crescendoed again, a chorus of voices reacting to the unfolding drama. Some held pity for Miles, others sympathized with Robert. But he could care less, his focus was solely on the new reality. If Isla is out there, I need to find her, he said, determination hardening his voice. She deserves to know the truth too. Miles could see the flicker of fear in his father's eyes, mixed with something else, regret. You can't, Miles. I've already put you at risk by letting this conversation happen. We don't know what could happen if we approach her. I don't care. I can't stand the uncertainty any longer. If you want to help me, I will find her myself. Silence fell like a heavy weight in the room, and he felt the tension shift again. His heart raced, caught between the weight of anger and the urgency of familial love. Outside, the sirens continued their mournful song, a reminder that time was slipping away. Leonora, can you help me find her? He asked, the vulnerability leaking through his determined facade. Of course, she responded, her voice steady. But we must hurry. Time is not on our side. As Miles braced himself for a journey that would redefine everything he thought he knew, a new flame burned within him, a yearning to face the truth, no matter the cost. But as they prepared to leave the gallery, a chilling notion shot through him. What if the shadows from his father's past had already reached Isla? He glanced back at his father, remorse mixing with uncertainty in the air. What other truths lay hidden beneath the surface? With unsteady resolve, he stepped toward the door, ready to uncover the family he never knew but deeply craved. He had no idea what awaited him on the other side, but one thing was clear: every secret would eventually surface, and it was his turn to seek the truth. Would it lead him to the sister he longed to find, or into a darker world he never anticipated? The gallery doors swung open, the scent of urgency spilling into the night. Miles stepped forward, propelled by a sense of purpose. The weight of his father's secrets pressed heavily against his chest, but the thought of Isla pulled him onward, lighting a fierce determination within. He couldn't let fear hold him back anymore. For too long, he had been a captive of silence, now he was ready to break free. Leonora's eyes glimmered with understanding as she fell into step beside him. "Listen, Miles," she said gently, "we'll find her. But you have to be prepared. The world can be unforgiving, especially for your sister." "I'm ready," he replied, the fervor in his voice steadying him. "She deserves to know I'm here for her. We both deserve to find our way back to each other." As they rushed into the darkening night, Lily followed closely, unwilling to let him face this new reality alone. "You really believe Isla's out there?" she asked, concern woven into her words. "I have to believe," Miles said. "What if she's been waiting for me, just like I've been waiting for her?" The car ride was an expedition tinged with anticipation. Leonora shared fragmented memories of Isla's sunrise painted with laughter, a girl who held on to hope in her heart despite being trapped in a situation beyond her control. Each word painted a clearer picture of the sister he'd never known, tugging at the threads of Miles's own longing. Miles clenched his fists, adrenaline mingling with nerves. What if she doesn't want to see me? What if my father's past has hurt her? That's a danger you can't shy away from, Miles, Leonora reminded him, her voice firm but encouraging. Being family means facing those fears together. Upon arriving at the foster home, they pulled up to a modest building, its facade quietly welcoming. A pang of apprehension knotted in Miles's stomach. Was he truly ready for this? He exchanged glances with Lily, her radiant smile bolstering his resolve when he felt fragile. As they entered the building, every step echoed confidence and uncertainty. They approached the front desk, and Miles swallowed hard. "I'm here to find my sister Isla." The receptionist looked up from her screen, surprise momentarily marring her expression, before she nodded and vanished into a back room. A suffocating silence enveloped them, the tick of the clock measuring the seconds of hope and fear. Moments later, another door opened, and a girl emerged. She took tentative steps, eyes wide, as if she wasn't quite sure whether to flee or to embrace them. The resemblance was uncanny, and Miles felt his breath hitch in his throat. Isla stood there, an ethereal reflection of himself, pale skin, hazel eyes that sparked with a flicker of recognition. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice trembling like a leaf in the wind. Miles took a brave step forward, his heart pounding against his chest. "I'm Miles. I'm your brother." Her expression morphed from confusion into sheer disbelief. "But Isla's voice trailed off, glistening tears pooling in her eyes. "I thought I was alone." "No, Isla. You've never been alone," he reassured fiercely, stepping closer. "I've been searching for you. I want to know everything about you." As those words hung in the air, time seemed to suspend. Isla took a deep breath, emotions swirling across her face, fear mingled with hope, an intricate dance of new beginnings. She stepped closer, allowing Miles to close the gap, a connection bridging the distance they suffered. Tears streamed down her cheeks, glistening like raindrops in the morning sunlight. I thought they left me," she choked out, her voice raw. "No more lies," Miles promised, wrapping an arm around her shoulder, drawing her into a gentle embrace. "We'll figure this out together." Lily stepped forward, a warm smile illuminating her face. "You're not alone anymore, Isla. You have a family now." And there it was, a bond forming more profound than words, solidified in the shared understanding of brokenness and healing. As they stood there, enveloped in a moment that felt both ordinary and extraordinary, Miles could feel the remnants of fear dissipate. He glanced back at Leonora, who wore a proud smile and fought back tears at the sight of them together. This was what it meant to confront the past, to begin anew and forge connections forgotten in the dark. The weight of his father's secret still loomed large, but now it felt manageable. They would face the future as a family. Together, they would dismantle the shadows of the past and build a vibrant, hopeful tapestry of love. And as they emerged from the foster home, hand in hand, a new narrative unfolded. It was no longer about silence or isolation, it was about voices lifted in unison, the sweet symphony of kinship resonating through the moments yet to come. With each step, Miles felt lighter, infused with newfound strength. They both deserved a future peppered with dreams fulfilled and laughter shared. It was time to rewrite their stories, unearth every truth, and find solace in each other's presence. As they drove into the twilight, Miles knew it was the beginning of something beautiful. He would protect Isla and offer her the love he had always craved. With Lily beside him, they journeyed onward into the unknown, hearts beating with gratitude for the family they were finally discovering. Life was waiting, and they were ready for it. Now is the moment for you to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that inspire. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Every click helps. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. We want to hear from you. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting this channel through your actions. Let us spread the love.